I bought kids hole punchers and did nail art. What's up, nail crew? It's Nicole, your fellow nail obsessed DIYer. We are doing something super fun today. Really easy nail art if you want some cute shapes on your nails, but you cannot draw. I bought this pack of hole punchers off Amazon and I thought, oh my gosh, these have the cutest little designs. I bet I could do some fun nail art with it. Well, fast forward like probably a year and a half to 2 years, they've been sitting in my drawer unused, and I finally got them out to try for some nail art. I had the idea to try them with water slides, so we're gonna try that after we get the base of our mayonnaise done. I'm gonna be showing you guys how to ombre two dip powders together, and the ones that I'm using are shimmers. So shimmers are actually a little bit harder to ombre together, and I'm gonna show you some of my tricks on how to ombre, what to do and what not to do where I messed up. I found that ombreing shimmers are harder than solids or glitters. I'm not exactly sure why. I don't know if it's because just like they're so shimmery, they just don't, they just kind of, the shimmer gets everywhere compared to when you're ombreing a solid and the glitter, like you know exactly where you want that to go. But first I wanted to go in with my solid nails to do that. That's what I like to do anytime I'm doing an ombre. I typically go in with my solid nails first and do the ombre last. The two colors that I'm using are called Hubgry Eyes and You and Me. They're both from a Valentine's Love Breakup collection from OG Dip Powder. It's like this gorgeous light pink shimmer and then a stunning darker pink shimmer, but they're like really bright. I am so in the mood for bright nails after so many months of dark nails and winter nails. I wanted something like bright and fun. Plus, Valentine's Day is coming up. I'm going to give you guys some really fun, easy options to do if you aren't good at drawing. Whenever I'm dipping my nails, I like to make sure that I apply my base really thinly. If you apply your base thick, you end up with really thick, chunky nails, and that's definitely what we don't want. It's better to have more layers that are thinner than less layers that are real thick. You'll probably get more cracks, chipping, lifting if you do thicker layers. So I went in with all of my solid nails first, and the nice thing about just not using any glitter this time was I didn't have to encapsulate with clear until the very end when I was done with all my nails. Now I like to, when I'm doing an ombre, I like to set out my powders in these little dip cups. If you don't have dip cups, you can also use cupcake liners. I just found personally that I would make a huge mess of the cupcake liners. I know I make a big mess with the dip cups still, but like when I was using the cupcake liners, I would constantly knock them over when I was doing ombres. So you want to grab two fluffy ombre brushes. And the reason that you don't want real small ones is because you really want the powder to kind of spread over your nail. So I like to start out on my first layer with the lighter color, and I do that at the bottom of the nail. And once I tap it, like for the most part where I want it, then I tap my hand to the side over top of the dip cup so that most of that powder falls and back into the dip cup. And then I go with my darker color, tapping it at the top of my nail. Something that I did wrong on my middle finger as compared to my ring finger. My middle finger, I put the darker powder down a little bit too far. So I didn't go up high enough with the lighter powder. I like to, on the first layer with the lighter color, go up to end of my finger. And then the darker color is only just at the very tips. It helps you on your second layer to blend better, but I didn't do that on my middle one. I only did it on my ring finger. So you'll see that my ombre on my ring finger looks a lot more blended and like more, I don't want to say natural, but more of the correct ombre look than my middle finger. My middle finger, I didn't go up far enough with the lighter color, because then on the second layer, I like to go with the darker color first on the second layer. That really helps then to get that pop of color at the tip of your nails, so that it really shows up. What I normally do is I end up ombreing the bottom part first, tapping that on, and then tapping on the top. Now, I like to go in and do a combination of tap and scrub. I found that it really helps to get the ombre to blend better than if you just do one method or the other, especially when you're using a shimmer. Shimmers really are a little bit harder to ombre, so I like to go in and I scrub a little bit of both colors on after I get the main like tapped ombre down. And I do that for any time I'm using solids or shimmers. It works really well to do this combination of tap and scrub to give you that really beautiful ombre payout. It's a little bit trickier to get the ombre to look correct when you're using a shimmer. When you're using solids, it's easier to do the tap and the scrub, and like the color just goes where you want it a little bit better. So you have to kind of play around when you're using the shimmers and really make sure you scrub into where you want it after you've done the tapping. Once you finish up with your ombre and it looks how you want, your next layer should be clear dip powder. And for ombre, when you're using dip liquids, doing the last layer with clear dip powder is key to keeping that ombre looking exactly how you want it. I tried once without using clear dip powder over my ombre, and when you buff and shape after you ombre, it really messes up exactly how you did that ombre. So your ombre is right now like right where you want it to be, and if you go and activate and try to buff and shape, you're going to mess up how your ombre looks. So doing that last layer of clear is an absolute must. I mean, I personally do it over every single nail anytime I'm using dip liquids, no matter what I'm doing. I just feel like it makes sure that your dip color underneath, whether it's a solid, shimmer, flake, foil, glitter, whatever, it is going to make sure that it shows up so beautifully after you do your buffing and shaping, and you're not accidentally messing with any of the color. So I do it regardless of what I'm doing, but when you're doing an ombre, it is absolutely a must to do that, especially if you're doing, the solids or the shimmer ombres. Once you get your clear dip powder over all your nails, make sure you brush it off really well. If you're using a clear, especially if you're using a clear that's not crystal clear, the one that I'm using is crystal clear, but still, I don't want my nails to be any thicker than they need to be, so I brush off the excess powder after every single layer. Then you can go in with your activator. When I'm doing activators, some activators take a little bit longer to dry than others. The ones that I'm using from OG Dip Powder, the liquids that I'm using, they take a little bit longer to dry, so I like to do 2 layers of the activator, and I do it immediately. Now I get to jump to this really fun, easy nail art. I was putting my hands up against the different decals to see like which one I thought I wanted to try using the hole punchers with. So it is really that easy. All you do is take the hole puncher. You want to punch out what part of the decal that you want. I got one from the side, and then I realized, oh, I'm not going to be able to like really get into the other one, so I need to cut my decal out. And I wanted to have a couple different options, so I did a couple different hearts to see like which one I thought was going to look the best with the mani. Since it's such a small little area of your nail, I wasn't exactly sure what part of the decal I would want and like what would look the best and really pop over the light pink and the dark pink. I was doing one of the decals on the ombre nails. So you just want to get little scissors, cut out your decals. You want to take your hole puncher and figure out where you want it on the decal. Then I got out the flower hole puncher. It was so cute. I felt like it was just a really fun Valentine's Day mani if I could do a heart and then a little flower. The nice thing about using decals with the hole punchers is your steps are exactly the same as if you didn't use a hole puncher. You still get to apply them the same, but since they're smaller designs, they go on so easily. You don't have to worry about like getting out acetone to melt them onto the sides of your nails. But if you are using decals that are a clear backing instead of a white backing, you want to take white stamping polish and paint the back of the decal. So once you soak it in water for like 15 seconds, you take it out and you lay it on a stamper. Then you want to let it dry for a few minutes and color in the back of it with white stamping polish. That's going to allow you to apply these decals over whatever color you're wearing. So if you see how the decals like a little bit sheer, that's typically ones that are for over white nails. But if you don't want to use them over a white nail and you want to use them over a color, this is how I do it. So I do this over a bunch of my decals. Anytime I want to use one over a color nail and it's a clear backed one, all you have to do is fill in the back with stamping polish and let it totally dry on there. And then the decal is going to show up on whatever color of nail that you have. I love this technique. I've only been doing it for a couple months. I heard of it, but I had never tried it, and it works so well. I have a lot of decals that have clear backs on them, but I want to wear them over colors, but they don't pop. So if I would have pressed this just on my nail without putting the white backing on, it would have really blended in, and that totally would not have been the look that I was going for. Since I'm trying to do more nail art for you guys without using gels, I used Maniology Sticky Base Coat, applied it to my entire nail, and then once it got tacky, then I applied the decal down. Now, if you don't want to use sticky base and you want to use gels, you can apply a gel base, fully cure it, then press the decal down, let it dry, another couple minutes, like at least another minute, and then float gel base over top of it and then finish with gel top coat. But I really have been trying so hard to do as many nail art or any kind of designs as I possibly can without gels for all of my nail friends who cannot or don't like to use gels. Once you get those on your nails, then you want to go in with a smudge-free top coat over the entire nail. I like to do that because it seals the decal in. The Maniology smudge-free top coat is not as shiny as I'd like it to be. Once the smudge-free top coat dries, then I like to go over it with my Seche Vite Fast Dry top coat. Doing the combination of the two top coats typically gets me about a week of wear until the nail polish starts to peel up. I'll be honest, nail polish has never stayed on my nails like ever, so the fact that it even stays a week over top of the dip to me is like awesome, because typically nail polish on my natural nails would literally peel after a day. Once you finish with the smudge-free top coat, then you want to go in and clean off the rest of your nails with some isopropyl alcohol. Then you can do your dip top coating. I really like to do this combination of the nail polish top coat and then the dip top coat because I am like a ride or die dip top coat person. I like to wear my dip top coats pretty much all the time if I can, if I'm not wearing gels. And when you're using dip top for your other nails, you just want to go through the steps and pretend like you're doing any of the nails that have the polish on them instead of the dip top coats. And this way your timing is correct no matter what you're using. If this kind of easy nail art is your thing and you're like, yes, I am here for it, make sure you check out this next video where we'll do more easy nail art. Thanks for joining me today, nail crew.